The year is 1944. The place is the Owl Mountains in Lower Silesia. The situation is desperate. The Nazi Third Reich is losing. The Soviet army is pushing from the east, and the Allies are closing in from the west. But deep underground, in a massive network of secret tunnels called Project Riese, which means giant, the Nazis weren't building more tanks or planes. They were working on something they called a Wunderwaffe, a miracle weapon. Legends say it wasn't a bomb that exploded, but a machine that hummed. It didn't fire bullets, it fired radiation. It was shaped like a giant church bell, and it was so dangerous that even the scientists who worked on it were terrified. They called it Die Glocke, the bell. For decades, the story of the bell has been a mixture of science fiction and terrifying history. Was it a secret anti-gravity machine that could fly to the moon? Or was it just a failed experiment in a desperate war? Today, we peel back the layers of the legend to find out what was real and what was a lie. This is a journey into the dark heart of Nazi science. The setting, Project Riese. Before talking about the bell, it's important to understand the place connected to the story. Project Riese was real. It is a documented Nazi construction project from World War II. The name Riese means giant in German, and the project lived up to that name. Project Riese was a massive system of 7 underground tunnel complexes carved deep into solid rock in what is now Poland. The tunnels included long corridors, large chambers, and reinforced rooms. The work was done by forced labor. Thousands of prisoners, many from concentration camps, were made to dig through rock under terrible conditions. Many of them died from exhaustion, disease, starvation, or abuse. What makes Project Riese so mysterious is that it was never finished, and the Nazis never clearly explained what it was meant for. Some believe it was intended to be underground factories. Others think it was supposed to become secret military headquarters. No official documents fully explain its purpose. Because of this, Project Riese and Silesia became a place of dark rumors and unanswered questions. It is real, dangerous, and unsettling. And it is this strange, unfinished underground world where the legend of the bell was born. The shape. Why a bell? According to the legend, the machine was huge, about 10 to 15 feet tall and around 9 feet wide. It was said to be made of a very hard and heavy metal. It did not look fancy or decorative. Instead, it looked plain and industrial. People who claimed to see it said it looked like a giant bell, which is how it got its nickname. The bell shape was not meant to be symbolic. In the story, it had a practical reason. Inside the machine were 2 large cylinders standing upright. These cylinders were said to spin very fast in opposite directions. The bell-shaped outer shell was believed to help hold in the powerful forces created by this spinning. Some scientists and engineers who later looked at the legend offered ideas about why it was built this way. If a machine like this really existed, the spinning cylinders might have been meant to create a strong energy whirl or vortex. This spinning energy was thought to be powerful enough to affect gravity. By spinning in opposite directions, the cylinders could help keep the system stable while creating huge amounts of energy. There is no proof that this machine ever worked, or even that it was real. But the strange bell shape became an important part of the story. It led many people to believe the Nazis may have been experimenting with very advanced science ideas, so extreme that even today they sit between real science, guesses, and myth. The mysterious Xerum 525. Every machine needs fuel, and according to the legend, the bell used a strange substance called Xerum 525. People who claimed to see it said it was a purple liquid that looked like liquid metal. It even seemed to glow. They said it looked unnatural, almost alive, and unlike anything people knew at the time. No real Nazi records have ever proven what Xerum 525 actually was. Because of this, many historians and scientists think it may not have existed at all. Others believe it could have been something real that was misunderstood and exaggerated over time. Some modern ideas suggest it might have been linked to very radioactive materials, or to a rumored substance called red mercury, which is also surrounded by myths and false stories. In the legend, Xerum 525 was extremely dangerous. It was said to give off harmful radiation and could kill people who stayed near it for too long. Because of this, the substance was supposedly kept in containers lined with lead to protect anyone handling it. Some stories even claim that scientists who worked near the bell became very sick or died. There is no scientific proof that Xerum 525 ever existed. What is real, however, is the fear and mystery around secret Nazi experiments near the end of the war. The idea of a glowing and deadly fuel made the bell seem even more terrifying and helped turn it into one of the most famous and strange legends of Nazi science. The flytrap, the henge. If you visit the site of Project Riese today, you'll notice a strange concrete structure nearby. It is circular, heavy, and made of thick, reinforced pillars arranged in a ring. Because of how unusual it looks, people have given it nicknames like the flytrap or the henge. This structure has fueled years of speculation. Some conspiracy theorists believe it was a testing platform for the bell. According to this idea, the bell was so powerful and unstable that it had to be chained down to this concrete ring while it was activated. They claim the structure was meant to stop the machine from lifting into the air or destroying the ground beneath it during tests. However, most historians strongly disagree with this theory. There is no solid evidence linking the structure to the bell or to any anti-gravity experiments. Many experts believe the structure was simply the unfinished base of a large industrial cooling tower, something commonly used in heavy construction projects at the time. What makes the flytrap so famous is not what we know, but what we don't. Its strange design, combined with the secrecy around Project Riese, leaves room for imagination. Whether it was part of a normal industrial plan or something more mysterious, it remains one of the most debated and eerie relics connected to Nazi-era secrets. The deadly glow. According to the legend, when the bell was activated, the area around it filled with an eerie light. Witnesses later claimed it glowed a pale blue or purple, washing the room in an unnatural color. But the light itself was not what terrified people. It was what came with it. The story says the machine created a powerful energy field. Anything living that entered this field was supposedly destroyed. Plants nearby were said to collapse into a soft, lifeless pulp. Small animals allegedly died almost instantly, as if their bodies could no longer hold together. The effect was described as silent, invisible, and unstoppable. The legend grows darker from there. It claims that the bell was so dangerous that even the scientists working on it could not survive its early tests. Out of the 7 original scientists assigned to the project, 5 reportedly died soon after the first activations. Some versions of the story say they suffered sudden illness. Others claimed they were killed by exposure to radiation or extreme energy released by the machine. There is no verified proof that any of this truly happened. No records confirm the deaths, the glow, or the field. But the idea of a machine so powerful it killed its own creators is what turned the bell into legend. Whether it was real or imagined, the story of the deadly glow remains one of the most chilling parts of the myth. The man who told the story, Igor Witkowski. This is where we have to be careful. The story of Die Glocke didn't come from a World War II soldier, it came from a Polish journalist named Igor Witkowski in the year 2000. He claimed he saw top-secret Polish intelligence documents that were declassified after the Cold War. He said he was only allowed to take notes and couldn't photograph them. Since no one else has ever seen those specific papers, many historians are skeptical. Hans Kammler, the man who vanished. The project is often linked to General Hans Kammler, a man who was not a myth but very real. Kammler was a high-ranking SS officer and one of the most powerful figures inside Nazi Germany's secret weapons programs. He oversaw projects such as the V-2 rocket, underground factories, and massive classified construction efforts hidden from the public eye. Kammler was known for his brutality. He relied heavily on slave labor, forcing prisoners to work under horrific conditions where thousands died building weapons meant to prolong the war. Unlike many Nazi officials, Kammler operated in deep secrecy, answering directly to the highest levels of command. Then, in the final days of the war, Hans Kammler disappeared. No confirmed body was ever recovered. He was never publicly captured, interrogated, or put on trial. His name simply fades out of the historical record, leaving behind unanswered questions and conflicting reports. This disappearance is what fuels the speculation. Some believe Kammler used advanced technology or knowledge tied to projects like the Bell to escape. Others argue he was quietly taken by Allied powers, possibly to the United States or South America, in exchange for his expertise. The connection to Operation Paperclip. After the war, the United States secretly brought over 1,600 German scientists to America to work for the government. This was called Operation Paperclip. Some people believe that the technology behind the Bell was taken to the US and became the basis for secret aircraft like the stealth bomber, or even UFO sightings in the 1950s. While we know the US took the rocket scientists, there is no official record of them taking a Bell. Fact versus fiction, the hard truth. Is the Bell real? Here is the uncomfortable truth. There are 0 official German documents from the 1940s that mention a device called Die Glocke. No verified blueprints, no wartime photographs, no lab notes, and no survivor testimonies recorded during or immediately after the war that describe such a machine. While it's true that the Nazis invested heavily in secret research and experimental weapons, and while Project Riese itself is a documented, real construction effort, the Bell does not appear in any confirmed archival material. Every detailed description of the device comes from modern accounts, written decades after the war ended. That's where the line between history and myth begins to blur. The story feels believable because it's placed inside a very real and very dark setting. Underground tunnels, classified projects, and a regime obsessed with impossible technology. But atmosphere is not evidence. Without contemporary proof, Die Glocke remains exactly what historians call it, a legend, built on speculation, secondhand claims, and the human desire to believe that the Nazis were hiding something even more terrifying than what we already know. The tunnels are real, the secrecy was real, but the bell itself exists only in the stories told long after the silence of war. The legacy of the Wunderwaffe. Even if the bell itself was only a myth, the Wunderwaffe Wonder Weapons program was very real. As the war turned against them, Nazi leadership poured enormous resources into experimental technology, searching for a single breakthrough that could reverse defeat. From the world's first operational jet fighters to the V-2 rockets, the first long-range ballistic missiles ever used in war, these projects showed how advanced and how dangerous this obsession had become. Many of these weapons were rushed into use, built by forced labor, and deployed with little concern for human cost. The idea behind the bell matters not because it may have existed, but because it fits perfectly into this mindset. A belief that secret science, hidden from scrutiny and driven by desperation, could become a miracle solution. When defeat seemed inevitable, reality gave way to fantasy, and science became a last gamble rather than a tool for understanding. The legacy of the Wunderwaffe is a warning. When knowledge is sealed behind secrecy, stripped of ethics, and aimed only at destruction, innovation doesn't save nations. It accelerates their collapse. The myth of the bell reminds us that unchecked secret science doesn't just distort history, it risks repeating it. The Nazi bell is a story that refuses to die. It is a mixture of real underground bunkers, missing Nazi gold, and the terrifying idea of technology that we can't control. Whether it was a real machine that could bend time or just a story created to explain the massive empty tunnels of Project Riese, it leaves us with a haunting thought. History is full of things that were impossible until they weren't. We know the Nazis were working on atomic bombs and rockets that could reach space. If they had just one more year, what would they have found in those mountains? The tunnels of Project Riese are still there, cold, dark, and mostly unexplored. They are a monument to a giant that never woke up. Do you think the Nazi bell was a real secret weapon, or just a legend to make the war seem more mysterious? Let me know in the comments. If you want to dive deeper into the secret labs and hidden bunkers of World War II, hit that subscribe button right now. The truth is often stranger than the stories we tell.